Got a lot of magic we want to cover today, so let's jump into it, huh? We've got Jeskai Feather. This is both a fan favorite and a personal favorite of mine. I'm a pretty big fan of decks that make combat tricks playable, so cards like Defiant Strike and Fight as One really tickle my fancy. Um, Feather Redeemed is kind of like the king of combat tricks, if you would. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, exile that card instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves. If you do, put it back into your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So Feather makes all of our effects here. Strike, Fight as One, God's Willing, and Reckless Rage act as repeatable effects that can generate card advantage with them, which is excellent. So we pair these various effects with cards like Dorat the Perfect Pet and 10th District Legionnaire that get bigger as we cast these combat tricks. And then notably from Amonkhet Remastered, we're gaining Soul-Scar Mage. So one of the things that's felt awkward about this archetype in the past was that you had so many 2-drops. So one of the things I'm trying today is I've cut our copies of Dreadhorde Arcanist, which is a card that's been reasonable in the past, for copies of Soul-Scar Mage here, so we're able to have more cheap threats. Notable as well here is that Soul-Scar Mage is also a human, and having some humans is relevant because Fight as One notably can target a human and a non-human. So if we get like board swept and we have like Soul-Scar plus Feather out, we get to save both of them, or Soul-Scar plus Stormwing, or Soul-Scar plus Dorat. Lets us get our value with those. Stormwing Entity is a card that's felt very reasonable as well. It's a little bit more on the expensive side, but the selection that it provides is nice. And the big draw to being Jeskai in this archetype as opposed to Naya or just straight red-white is that in addition to Feather, we get Dorat and Storming Entity as additional evasive flying threats to push damage through clogged boards. Yeah, Soul-Scar Mage is also excellent, as Whitman points out in chat, with Reckless Rage, because we're going to be rebuying Reckless Rage. So Soul-Scar Mage, static text, lets Reckless Rage kill things that are bigger than 4 toughness, because you could slowly Reckless Rage them over the course of a few turns by putting minus counters on them, which is great. So let's go ahead and pop on into some games here with this, and see how it goes. See some folks in chat grabbing the raid command. I appreciate the folks checking out that sponsor. I have until like tomorrow afternoon to collect installs on that. And if we get 31 more people that install and play through the tutorial on PC for the first time, I get a little bit of a bonus. Anybody that takes the time to do that, if you drop me a DM after you complete the tutorial, I will gift you a sub to the channel. Or if you're already a sub, you can bump something in the queue. No blue mana, but like our 5-card hand is like really good. And at some point we'll draw a blue and have a great 7-card hand, right? Yeah, that'll be fine, Cage Son. So, I'm going to God's Willing during my upkeep here. So this way I get 2 scries. So I'm playing this purely to pump my creatures and try and scry into a blue source. So I get 2 scry 1s here. Woof. Got a little bit of a speculative hand, but still feels bad. That's how magic goes sometimes. We'll see. They're probably going to cast Wrath of God here anyways. That's enough of that. Alright, so Adanto Vanguard and Disdainful Strokes are good here. Reckless Rage is an easy cut, and I think when in doubt, trimming an Opt is fine. Curriton She, thanks for the 24 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. It's fast if you know when to concede. If you take a while to concede, you're going to sit there a while. But if you know when you're mostly dead, it tends to be quick. What's funny, too, is, like, this build's playing one more land than I think you need to play in this deck. I'm playing 23 because I added an extra Triome. Big fan of playing more lands. Alright, no ramp on 2 is huge here. Means you don't have to worry about getting swept on 3, which is nice. So we're going to again run that God's Willing during the upkeep. We'll give this pro green to attack through the Rejuvenator. The God's Willing is going to come back with Feather this time, and this will help us dig for either a Fight as One or a Disdainful Stroke to potentially counter Wrath of God next turn. Man, that might be good. Is that good enough? I feel like it's not. Yeah, and then it's a question of like they don't have any white mana here. Oh, okay, so we're definitely playing Stormwing Entity then. I was gonna say, I thought they had a single white with this, but they actually have no white mana. Bottom those. Might be a quick one here. Yeah. Incredibly interesting, stimulating, and engaging games of Magic the Gathering so far. Running them down. The old 7 minutes heading into game 3 after a 3-minute deck tech. Really feeling our 3-color mana base so far here today. Alright, that's not bad. Yep, yeah, match 1, game 3. Alright, there's white source number 1. Yeah, I agree, Violet Journey. This is big, this is good. I agree, this has been a fantastic example of, well, I mean, part of the reason why there hasn't been garbage time is because, like, I conceded aggressively in the first one, right? I boarded out my Reckless Rages, huh? That could be wrong here. That's not a terrible pickup. They have double white. I think I'm just 10th districting here. So, am I playing second 10th district or no? So, like, the question is, like, can I kill them? Can I kill them fast enough without playing the second threat out? I feel like the answer to that question is probably no. It's possible I should have shocked... I don't know, it's tough. It's possible I should have shocked this in to play... It's possible I should have shocked this in to play the op, so that way I could, like, Defiant Strike here and play Fight as One. And we had talked a little bit about the opponent's archetype, and I talked about how I didn't think their deck, it was that big of a deal. I didn't think the old deck was that big of a deal before Hour of Devastation, but I think there's a very real chance that Hour of Promise changes that dynamic. Like, this game, this is a good example of, like, just, like, how much this card punches their deck into overdrive, right? Like, the fact that this lets them find Field of the Dead is huge. And Field of the Dead and another land, right? So there's, like, basically no other ramp, and just worked out for them. Hey, Muse of Casimir, thanks for checking out the raid sponsor, finish the tutorial, appreciate that. Drop me a DM and let me know what you'd like as a thank you. Yeah, or 2 fields if they already have 6 other lands, exactly. Like, and when you get 2 fields, you just get 4. Yeah, probably skip. If they've never subbed to the channel, that's probably fine. I cut people that pay my bills a little bit more slack, but yeah, if they've just constantly been timed out for spewing, feel free to get rid of them. A-okay with taking out the garbage. Sounds like field has to go again. I don't know. I think anybody telling you that they know with certainty what needs to go or not, I think is either an idiot or trying to sell you something. Like, there are a lot of people that like to give, like, bold, strong, hot takes because they feel like when they hit, it gives them credibility, and, like, a lot of people do that and miss frequently and nobody cares, it seems. So, like, there's no accountability for constantly being wrong. So, that's a pretty good draw. Alright, so what's the plan here? Probably Reckless Rage. I'm gonna start with Opt, I think, and see where we go. Yeah, I agree, Scholar. In general, I'd much rather see, if they think there's a problem, I'd much rather see Hour of Devastation go away than Field. Or Hour, Promise, sorry. Never the one. Hour of Devastation's the red one, right? If history is any indication, they'll ban Field of the Dead, because that's what they did in Pioneer, but we'll see. I don't know. I also think there's something to be said, like, while this deck that we're playing is somewhat aggressive, the strength of the deck that we're playing is not its aggressive draws. So, like, this deck that we're currently playing, the appeal of playing it is its ability to be interactive, and being less linear and more interactive makes you much worse against Field of the Dead. So, like, decks like Red-Black Aggro and, like, the Hellrider Gruul deck that we played yesterday, those decks are very good against Field of the Dead because they're not really trying to be interactive, they're just trying to run people out. Are they dead? So this is 4, this is +4, this is +3, right? So they're dead, right? Just count again. This is 4, 8, 11. I think I did that right. Yeah, this card being a second playable human for archetype is a big deal. For sure. We do have some very linear draws like that. Like, occasionally, we can just run people down. Alright, so I definitely want my instant speed removal in this matchup with Abrade and Shock. The question is, do I want Baffling End as well? How interactive do I want to become here? I feel like the answer is probably pretty interactive. How do we feel about God's Willing versus Fight as One? This is a matchup where God's Willing is a little bit better because it can help us get evasive. I know, like, we killed them Xaxes with Fight as One there, but post-board, they're likely to be more interactive as well. If they're playing something similar to our Bant Spirits deck that we played yesterday on stream, they probably have something like Deputy of Detention, which God's Willing protects against and Fight as One does not. I kind of feel like I want these Baffling Ends on the draw. How many creatures are we on? 19? I can trim at least one, I think. Let's try this. Might be wrong to keep my cut some of my flying threats too, though. I'm cutting them for removal spells. That's probably a wash. I was intentionally keeping my office door open because it gets a little bit hot in here. It gets hotter in here when it's closed, but as long as they're out there playing Minecraft, I'm gonna close it to cut their noise a little bit. Don't want to slow down too much. Yeah, but I mean, like, so cutting, like, our Stormwing doesn't really slow us down, right? Because that's like another 3-drop, which is nice. So I don't know that we're really giving up that much. It's +1/+1 for each other creature you control with flying. Interesting. No for a retreat here. I have a lot of threats. I like the Jeskai version of this better than Naya. Yeah, Jeskai is the variation that I recommend on my website. Red Source is actually the perfect draw here because it lets me go Abrade this. And then, gosh, do I want to Reckless Rage this, or do I hold on to this because of Feather? Hey, Bob Zapper, thanks for checking out the raid sponsor and playing through the tutorial. Appreciate that. Drop me a DM to let me know if you'd like a gifted sub or to bump something in the queue. Yeah, I feel like there's value just killing their board. I don't know. I think I'm going to pass for now and wait and see. Maybe if they play out like another Lord, I'll kill that. Yeah, I don't think this is scary enough to be worth killing. I think this is like a wait and see turn. Punished. Shockland could be a counterspell, could also be a Rattle Chains. I think there's some people like Saffronov that just like genuinely enjoy playing a game where their opponent's not taking game actions for some reason, Linderella B. I don't know why, but those people exist. Are they gonna try and tap something when I enter combat here? Hey, Scissor, thanks for checking out the raid sponsor and playing through the tutorial. Appreciate the support. I'm pretty sure you're a sub. I saw your name in chat. Drop me a DM and let me know what you'd like to do as a thank you. Raid. Slow Imp, thanks for the 25 months. Peter Oxo, thanks for the half a year. Welcome back, folks. Happy Saturday morning. T-1 day until the next Hoaglandia Open. Super excited to cast Historic tomorrow. And we're dead. I guess not strictly. They don't have a counter spell. Oh, they're just tapping out. Sure. Okay. So I get to do this and do this, and we're definitely just doing this now. Exit Dose, thanks for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hoaglandia. You're a big fan of Prison, Hate Bear, Stacks, archetypes. Yeah, but I'd even go as far as to argue that, like, there's a difference between those types of decks and, like, Blood Moon. Like, I think Blood Moon is fundamentally different than those types of decks you just described. Like, there's a difference between, like, things that you really have to set up and work for, and like the way Blood Moon exists, right? Yeah, there are still spots in the Open tomorrow. Since we, one of the nice things about adding a small entry fee is that, one of the nice things about including a small entry fee in the Open is that there aren't just a bunch of people signing up that intend to leave. Or that, like, might have to leave. I don't think anybody signed up who intended to leave, but I think, like, a bunch of, like, just-in cases had been signing up, and that just doesn't happen when we have a small entry fee. So. Feel a little bit bad about playing this out. Kinda wish I would have, skipped the cycle. Again, I know, like, again, I think even, like, I know Lantern Control can be frustrating to play against, but I think even comparing Lantern Control to Blood Moon does a disservice to, like, what Blood Moon does, right? Like, Lantern Control required an incredible amount of setup and manipulating and stuff like that, whereas, like, Blood Moon's just this card, like, you cast it on turn 2 or turn 3, and if your opponent didn't flip heads and, like, have their basic lands, just lose the game and don't get to play Magic anymore. German Space Ace, thanks to the 25 months. Welcome back. I appreciate that. That's a neat one. Okay. This is one that I don't have in my Vayne Spirits bill, but has some neat utility. I think we're just hanging tight for now. Yeah, they could just be, like, they have Rattle Chains and Shackle Guys, so, like, I mean, even, like, our spirits, like, there could just be, like, miscellaneous flying things, too. Yeah, big agree, Sapien. Also, creatures tend to be more interactable than random things like enchantments, right? Ah, the waiting game. At least they're, like, also flooding and dying. They're gonna, like, hit a company at some point and then just, like, kill us on their untap. They're also just, like, stockpiling food here. I mean, as long as magic is happening on both sides of the table here, I'm, like, not too annoyed at the current game state. Opponent is ready for the long winter ahead, yep. It's been great, not only post-ban and restricted Dead Knight, but the addition of Amonkhet Remaster to this format has been phenomenal. Playing Historic the last 3 days has given me, like, really big, like, classic Modern vibes when I really loved that format. And it's giving me classic Modern vibes without ever getting Troned or Blood Mooned or Chalice to the Voided, which is nice. Yeah, SCG's having a standard tournament today, and they had, like, 56 Soul Tyrant players and, like, 130 people playing, so, like, I don't know that standard can be saved. We're just gonna wait till rotation on that one, I think. Yeah, and if you haven't been keeping up on the news, Dead Knight, not only did a bunch of Amonkhet cards get introduced, but Amonkhet Remastered also had cards like Thoughtseize, Collected Company, and Wrath of God in it, among other extra cards that weren't in the original Amonkhet block. So really, really a ton of things to be exploring in the format right now. Yeah, I agree, Violet Journey. It's huge. Like, if we could get, like, the really sweet cards from Legacy and Modern added to Historic without the ones that are, like, notable design mistakes and extra offensive, that would be absurd. It would be really fantastic. This is a good draw. We can start attacking now. I'm gonna start scrying a little bit. Wow, brutal. Well, they weren't just bricking like us. I guess we have some action too. I at least get to scry here, I suppose. But I don't get to draw because my 10th District Legionnaire is gone. That's one to think about. If we lose this game and we have a game 3, we'll definitely want to like player things pre-combat so we don't lose our cantrip. I think every format of Magic is always going to have decks you don't like playing against. Like, there's a large segment of people that don't like playing against traditional control, and I think a lot of their feelings for not liking playing against traditional control are very valid. Are you evil for wanting Bolt? I just think Bolt hurts the format more than it helps it. I'm really not a fan of arms race style solutions. And I'd much rather they scale back the power level of the threats rather than increasing the power level of the answers. Alright, if this works, we're in an okay spot. Still just waiting on Feather here. So 13 lands and 27 cards. It's actually about... So, like, this is, again, one of the things where you need to be able to, like, take a step back and try and detach how the game feels from, like, the mathematics of what's actually happening. Because, like, I feel very flooded, right? But, like, when I look at the reality of what's actually happened this game, I haven't actually drawn, statistically, that many more... I'm not actually flooded statistically. Like, I am really within, like, I have 15 lands in 28 cards, like a little over half, but like over half when my deck's like 40% lands almost is like within a standard deviation of the mean, right? So like I have a lot of lands in play, but it's just like been a long game of Magic. Opponent's afraid of getting blown out again here. They're not attacking because we savaged them last time with an Abrade. Yeah, they're scared. They're scared of another piece of instant speed removal. I'm happy with how we boarded. I'm just trying to draw some more spells this game. Say deck list for decks Jeff played earlier. Yeah, you can find everything up on my Stream Decker page. You can also find every deck I've ever streamed archived on my YouTube channel, and there are deck lists in the description of every video up there. You stay well organized around these parts to help you get the information that you want to see. This is a hot take, but I wish Magic were less expensive on Arena. Arena is incredibly expensive for no reason other than it can be, and they know it can be. Nice, Beansy. Would a card like Brainstorm be good? I don't even think that Brainstorm would likely be super playable in this format. Because there aren't a plethora of fetch lands. Like, people would play it, but I don't know that it would necessarily be busted, if that makes sense. Alright, so the game has ended. Oh, I'm dumb. I should have Reckless Rage this one, right? So then I could shock here. shock this one. How has Soul-Scar Mage felt so far? Like, super reasonable. The fact that it's 1 mana and the fact that it's a human have both been super relevant. Yeah, I'm glad Magic's playable again, but, like, it's definitely, like, experiencing Runeterra's card economy is, like, incredibly eye-opening. Try and disable your ad blocker if you have one, if the read link's not working. The way it does forward, some ad blockers don't like. Oh my god, I did it again. God damn it. We talked about this too. There's no reason to attack with everything, right? Just like actual done. Alright, well, I'm gonna draw a bunch of cards here. See if we can recover from this giant mistake. Only have 1 basic in my deck. Definitely should have just attacked with both Soul-Scar Mages there, right? I was assuming Collected Company, and that's why Settle the Wreckage is good, right? Because, like, it looks you're representing a couple of different things. How does Runeterra compare to Hearthstone? Well, I mean, I think Hearthstone's probably even less generous than Magic Arena. Runeterra has both the best pay-to-play economy and free-to-play economy of any card game I've ever played. Yeah, but those aren't nearly as good as, like, no other fetch lands. Like, not even close, Debo. Nah, I never touched Gwent. Gwent, I don't know, does Gwent constitute being a major card game? There's a part where we never draw another creature? Yeah, basically. And I mean, like, if I lose this game, I deserve it. Like, I punted this game into the ground. There was no reason for me to attack my Feather in. Like, if I just, like, if you want to keep track, like, again, I always encourage people, like, ignore my record with the deck, because we frequently make mistakes, but, like, if I don't attack with Feather that turn, just like my opponent can't win it, it's not close. Yeah, and this is, I agree with Jaquan there, actually. The dusting economy in Hearthstone is super predatory as well, but it's even more offensive in a lot of ways than Magic Arena because people think that it's okay. Like, they've tricked people essentially into thinking that this thing that's really consumer unfriendly is good for them. And for people that are my normal Magic audience that haven't poked at Runeterra before, in Runeterra, they literally just let you buy the cards you want directly for in-game currency. The most expensive card type is $3 a copy, and their deck building restrictions in their game mean you can only play 6 copies of that most expensive card type in your deck to begin with. So most competitive decks in Runeterra run somewhere around $25 to $30 to build, or less than that if they're, like, budget decks exist for pennies on the dollar, but yeah. So it's a really consumer-friendly setup. We hit it with one of the aggro decks yesterday. I don't know, we've been doing well with most of the things that we've played recently. Formats felt pretty reasonable. Yeah, Runeterra, Runeterra is the League of Legends card game. Yeah, some variations of spirits are playing Subtle Wreckage. Almost lost this game because of Subtle, but we were far enough ahead that we're pulling through. Did you do that today, Rayhouse? Did you finish upgrading the artifacts? There's been a couple of people that seem they didn't quite fully understand where they had to stop. When the Arbiter shows you how to upgrade the helmet, you're done. You can be done. I'm gonna give this Pro Blue. And then they're actually dead here, right? Because we fight as one. And then even after they gain a bunch of life, they die. Yeah, after she tells you to upgrade the helmet to 4, you're done. There is no can be done in raid. Are you in the subs Discord, Blevins? Because there's a bunch of us in there that talk about it really constantly. If I'm being honest, my most active channel in the subs Discord is the raid channel. You did it yesterday. Did you use the name Rayhouse when you did it? Also, keep in mind it's only for new accounts, so if you like use an existing account, that doesn't count. So it's a promotion to get new people in. Sweet, Blevins. Wellspring could be a lot of different things. I think I'm keeping this speculatively. So I hope to opt into a red source. It looks like mono red. Nailed it. Yeah, I've seen, I think this red aggro deck is probably the most common Wellspring variation, but I've seen like some blue-red decks, I've seen some ramp decks, some crazy 5-color decks. I think this is definitely the companion that gives you the least amount of info. Yeah, I started a little early today, Noxon, because I want to fit in a third deck. This will be our last day not in sub-only mode. And if you are a non-sub who would like to have a free sub for the next month to continue hanging out, check out the raid sponsor. It's part of the reason why the chat's open, so people can access that command. You know, maybe I'm supposed to fight as one there just to push damage. I could also be right to honestly hold these back as blockers. Ginger Weasel, thanks for the third of a year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Does Runeterra have a variety of archetypes? Yes. Runeterra's current 2-set standard format has like a dozen different decks of a variety of archetypes that are very reasonable. If you're not familiar with the game, this won't do much for you, but you like look at the raw number of decks that are S and A tier here. They do a very good job of balancing their game. Yeah, the fact that they have Soul-Scar Mage makes the fact that I can give Indestructible like basically pointless, because their damage cards are going to deal -1/-1 counters. That's a decent pickup. How much of a donation does it take to get you to play a deck tomorrow or the next day when you play Historic? Yeah, I won't be streaming Historic tomorrow because tomorrow's the open, but so after today, the top deck in the queue will have 74 points. So, it looks like to get in on the next stream, it would be like a $60, $65 donation. Give or take. Yeah, all subs are the same for the open. Keep in mind the open does have an extra fee as well. It's $6 to join the actual event, but yeah, if you're a Prime sub, Tier 1 sub, got a gifted sub for whatever reason, you can play in the open. I think we're just hanging out on defense. I think I'm just so like it feels bad to show them I have this, but at the same time, I would like to get Dorat pumped up here with it, so I think it's correct to play it. Hey, Muse. Yeah, you should pop it in. Thanks for the 5 months. I appreciate that. Okay. You just queued into Teferi Time Raveler or Traditional Historic event. Yeah, that's because Wizards doesn't clear out the events. It's real awkward. Alright, so block, 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 and then we fight as one, indestructible. No, wait, that doesn't make sense. I do this, and then I fight as one, give these indestructible, and then if this isn't a spell, all of these die, and these, everything I have lives. Are they dead on the backswing? If we draw a spell, I think they're dead. We draw a non-creature spell. God bless America. Come on, Magic. Come on. Stay safe out there, Time Lord. Alright, so trimming ops, I don't really have time to screw around with that effect. Stormwing Entity is a little slow. Bringing in all my removal. Let's try this. We're so close, chat. Just like literal exactsies. Oh! Oh, chat, I threw that game. If I would have put Feather in front of their Trampler, I would have taken one less, right? Because Feather in front of the Trampler would have been a 4/5, right? And my 3/3 would have, my perfect pet would have still gotten the bonus because it doesn't have to be targeted and would have still eaten the other thing. Okay. I don't know. So, like, they had the skewer, and the skewer would let them kill something else I have in play. So I don't know if we win the game, but I wouldn't have died to the skewer if I had blocked better. Makes me feel a little less salty. We had a better line there. My Feather muscle memory has me needing to target the thing to get it a bonus, but Dorat is different than 10th District Legionnaire. Dorat's like counter prowess, kind of. A Driven to Despair build around. As much as I love money, I don't think that Driven to Despair is likely a constructed playable card in this format. Yeah, there's been a good bit of variety the last few days. You say in the Self-Mill Silver Smote Shell, like that's an established archetype. Trust me when I tell you it's not. Investigate, thanks for the 18 months. I appreciate the 1.5 years. Welcome back. Always having Soul-Scar on one is pretty good, chat. Driven to Despair is like an effect we played against a couple of days ago with the Explorer. Sure, but that's not an established deck. Like, ran into it once on the ladder is like, you know, you act like I should be able to, like, pull up tournament results. Like, when you act like it's established deck, I feel like you're saying, like, okay, you can go pull up tournament results and find this deck. Like, that's really not the case, right? God, this card is so good. It might be wrong to play Feather here. It might be better to wait, because they can, like, end step burn it, untap burn it again. Nah, Prize Amalgam's sweet. Without the actual dredge mechanic, Prize Amalgam's a really sweet card. Yeah, I agree with that assessment. That's a card that will get better as the card pool deepens. Hey, Investigate. Good to have you back. And you've got a mod sword in chat, so even if your finances get tight, you'll be able to be here to participate regardless. That's part of the reason why I give mods swords after 12 months. Mods can chat in sub-only mode even when they're no longer subbed. Wait, does this impact my Reckless Rage? Am I about to hurt my thing? No, okay, good. Wasn't exactly sure how that was gonna work out. I didn't think it did, but you know, here we are. Hey, the Yak lives. Thanks for checking out the raid sponsor and playing through the tutorial. I appreciate that. It's 27 people off our goal. I think we're gonna do the long stream on Friday next week if we hit the 175 goal. Not necessarily, Ty. If you come up with something, feel free to submit it using the form on my website so I can take a peek at it. I'm always willing to entertain new ideas, but at my cursory glance over the card pool, Driven to Despair is not something that I see anything jumping out at me as. Yeah, not only is the format fresh and exciting with Teferi Hero of Hearthstone gone, but the AKR has felt really good. Yeah, definitely, Ek. I appreciate that. Looks like their frenzy is currently on the more experimental side. Honestly, like, the things that make blue-white control fun to play, Teferi got rid of. Like, the interesting back and forth and sequencing choices you had to make in that archetype largely didn't exist with Teferi out. Yeah, this format is going to have a really awesome texture to it by the end of the year. No, we're playing Baffling End over Glass Casket because most things you want to play a removal spell on are much, much better than a 3/3 with Trample. I think the only reason to play Glass Casket over Baffling End is if you already have 4 Baffling Ends in your deck and you want a 5th copy of this effect, or you have something like Karn that's tutoring artifacts. Are you saying targeted discard is bad for the game? Do you think it's good for bad for certain play? I didn't say targeted discard was bad for the game. I said in my opinion, targeted discard is inherently bad game design because it serves to restrict decisions that players get to make. I think cards like Thoughtseize are, to set a low bar, less offensive than Prison Elements. I think you could maybe make an argument that the way in which Wizards designs their game is designed with those in mind, and things could potentially be worse without access to them as the card pool gets deeper. I don't know. Thoughtseize has felt fine the past few days. Yeah, that's true too. Abrade is in this format now. Really don't play Glass Casket. Yeah, Thoughtseize, Collected Company, and Wrath of God were all... God, this hand is keepable and it's good, but like, Lord, does our mana hurt. Hey, thanks to whoever just finished the raid tutorial. I appreciate that. If you're the person that literally just finished that right now, it just says someone for me, and you want a sub for it, DM me your player ID, and I can confirm that. That was you, even though the name didn't come up. That's actually an interesting suggestion. Someone asked, and I'm missing the name now, 10-Ton Hammer. Is there any chance that for the Hoots next month that we do Standard one day and Historic the next? I don't know. That is a much bigger commitment. I just want a Baffling End here. I also don't know. I don't know that I could necessarily... I don't know that I feel confident that we would have an appropriate number of players for tournaments 2 days in a row either. Like, I'm interested to see where our signups end up for this weekend. Yeah, we actually played red-black aggro yesterday, Sandcry, and it's up on my website. I think it's a very reasonable shell. Would recommend checking it out if you're looking for a Thoughtseize aggro deck. It's under the proven category, because it's based on the Grixis aggro deck that was up there prior. Standard on the even rounds, Historic on the odd rounds. I mean, money is nice. I'd have to, it's not just a money thing though. I would have to talk to the boss and like confirm logistics of some of the stuff like that. I think I'm supposed to chump block and stay at 8 here. Who's doing coverage with me tomorrow? My buddy Nick Chirillo. I might have butchered Nick's last name. He's got some SCG Open top 8s, and I traveled with him to a number of Opens, and we've BS'd online for a long time. He's Bob and Cheese in chat, if you've seen him in chat before. He's been around the Hooglandia culture for a while. Twisted, thanks for checking out the raid sponsor. Appreciate that. Yeah, if you've seen Bob and Cheese in chat, he's gonna be casting with me tomorrow. Yeah, Nick's a genuinely good dude as well. I like good people. Hey, congrats, Avian. Alright, so if they attack here, we're going to double block Wellspring, chump block Lava Runner. I guess I could also just do this. I'm gonna do this. And hope to draw. Hope to draw some kind of spell and keep my feather around, I think. They've got double Ramanap runes, and we're at 5, so like... Yeah. We're probably dead here. The Ramanap runes are incredibly scary. For people that are new to Magic, this card was literally banned in Standard at one point. Ah, yes! The old tank kill you. Feels mono red, man. Feels mono red, man. Do I have a deck with Drakehaven? Not personally. There is a Jeskai cycling deck. That's a Drakehaven deck in the deck queue. This is a viewer submission we're going to get to at some point when it makes it to the top. So if you're looking for ideas, that might be an okay place to start. Good games, RV. Good luck in the rest of your laddering. I wonder what would have happened if I hadn't messed up my blocks in the first game and gone to 1. I think we had draws if I would have blocked better in the first game to kill them the following turn. Could have gone to 1 instead of 0. Alright, Opt, I choose you. Yeah, the mono black control deck felt really good both times we played it before Amonkhet release, so excited to give that one another try. If mono black control feels reasonable again today, it's gonna go up on the website. In fact, it's probably going up on the website regardless. I might have already commissioned artwork for it, where how good it feels today will dictate where it goes on the website. Well, the Red Bull events are not historic, right? I'm pretty sure those are all standard. What's it called? There is, I think it's MTGA Arena Zone or something like that. Does a couple of times a month, maybe every weekend. I'm not sure what their frequency is. I've seen them post things though, and I've referenced results of their events before. It's about where we get languished and die. Yeah, so like it's a tough sell if I'm supposed to wait for Feather there. Cause like there's no guarantee I'm gonna find a 4th land. There's also no guarantee my opponent doesn't have like a discard spell or a counter spell. So like if I keep Feather in hand, there's a chance I lose it anyways. It's the glory days of Mono Black Banefire. Well, the Mono Black control deck has Banefire in the sideboard. It's a Chromatic Lantern control deck. If you haven't seen that one, deck list is in the queue. Alright, one creature, please, so we can kill this with Reckless Rage. And we're dead. So the problem with topping land 4 is still the same issue, Elusive. So like if I top land 4 there and I take a turn off and don't play the feather out, my opponent could just have a discard spell and discard spell the feather. So like, wait, topping land 4 doesn't fix the situation that I was in. Mana removal seems like a hard matchup. Not necessarily. If their removal spells line up into your threats and your answers and everything goes well for them, sure. When the answer deck answers line up well, you die. You get to bring in some extra threats like Adanto. Probably just Defiant Strike here, I think. Maybe a mix of Defiant Strike and Reckless Rage. You need to keep some number of these because of things like Deep Sanity. Yeah, I agree. Like, again, the way my draw lined up into their draw felt bad, but like, there's a very different permutation of the way that game plays out that like, my plays are fine, and we just like, their answers happen to line up into every decision I made that game, and that's just how Magic goes sometimes. Making all the decisions and losing anyways isn't failure, it's just life. Just Magic. Well, they'd already played 3 pieces of spot removal, Elusive. So, like, you know, pick your poison. They could have up to 8 pieces of... They could have up to 8 pieces of stuff. So, again, it's all give and take, pick and choose. Would love to draw a card that lets us cast this turn. Haven't seen people goblins from a lot. I don't think goblins is very good in best of 3. I think the consistency at which goblins does its thing, its ability to play through the opponent having interaction, it's very bad at these things. There's other linear decks in the format that do that but better. Yeah, I agree, Steven. I think the Goblins deck feels worse to play against than it actually is. Like, the Goblins deck is what I describe as a 2 or a 10 deck. Like, when it works, you feel awful. Alright. This is probably the best draw in our deck, honestly. Kinda into both of those. Maybe I'm gonna bottom this one because they have a 2/3 death touch. Definitely keeping Vanguard. After River Sim, thank you for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Oglandia. Thanks for keeping me around. And again, like, you know, sometimes your stuff lines up okay and they die. Like, I know from an emotional perspective, these types of games feel bad. But being able to disconnect yourself from the feeling of the game and analyze how things played out is important to understanding how the matchup actually is, good, bad, or otherwise on average. One of the things that I've talked about before on stream is that from a psychological perspective, aggressive decks feel worse to play in proportion to their power level, because when aggressive decks win the game, they win the game very quickly, and when they lose, they tend to lose long, drawn-out games. So the percentage of time that you spend winning versus percentage of time that you spend losing isn't reflective of the number of games that you're winning and losing if you're not actually keeping track of that and thinking about what's going on in the games. And in reverse, control decks or decks like Field of the Dead they feel better than they are, because when you lose with the control deck, you usually lose quickly, and when you win with the control deck, it takes you a long time in terms of minutes to actually win. Yeah, you spend a bunch of time in garbage time with the control deck. So the psychological aspect of evaluating how your archetypes actually are is tough, control versus aggro, when you're not looking at the actual numbers and thinking about the details. Hey, Ganja. Mr. Baw. Does that sub mean you're going to play in our tournament tomorrow? For folks who aren't fellow paper boomers, Jacob Baw won an SCG Invitational at some point. He's someone I kicked around a bunch of paper tournaments with. Rats. I appreciate the support regardless. Hope you're doing all right out there. I think so like, this hand's got a pretty good mix of stuff already, so I think I'm saving this op to play the Stormwing on 3. Well, like, Dorad on 2, op Stormwing on 3. Yeah, I think Energy Token sounds right. It had him with his hands, like, up in the air, if I recall correctly. It's been a little bit, though. Eliminate. Eliminate. Yeah, and that's another thing, too. Like, we talk a lot about on stream, like, you have to look past just raw win rates, too, a lot of the time, right? Because, like, win rate doesn't tell the whole story. Like, how often are you, like, I think we're keeping this land, right? Because I'm going to go Stormwing, and the next turn I can go 2-drop, 2-drop, or even 2-drop hold-up protection spells. I think I'm in for that. The energy token of the Goku Spirit Bomb pose. Yeah, classic. Any reason for pet over Legionnaire there? Yes, because I plan to opt plus Stormwing on 3, so I let on Dorat, because Dorat gets bigger when I cast opt, whereas 10th District does not get bigger. Was the decisioning for my sequencing there. Well, that's just rude, opponent. Scry me a river, baby. Looking to fade Languish here. Another gone to you, sure. How close are they to dead? If we draw a non-creature spell, can we kill them next turn? Soul-Scar Mage probably means no. Watch this be one of my Reckless Rages. Hey, Baffle, thanks for checking out the raid sponsor. I appreciate that. Drop me a DM and let me know if you'd like to bump something in the queue. Is Feather better than my average random draw? I think so. I think so. Even with my hand being empty, I think it's better. I know, yeah, like, I have another scry. So, like, there's some merit the second scry, like, push. I think even with the second scry, it's better than my average draw. Well, this has Death Touch, so I don't really want to attack here. Come on, things that target. Come on, things at target. So, we're dead. I think we're dead. Close game. Hey, Metafuse, thanks for the half year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Speaking of paper boomers from my old SCG days, Mr. Jim Davis just dropped me a message and said he's going to play tomorrow, so that's exciting. He won one of the SCG player championships back in the day. In the before times. Yorion Sky Nomad. Probably a control deck, could be a ramp deck. I think I'm going to keep this. It needs a spell to go with this, but it has 2 into 3, and it has all my colors of mana, which makes it appealing, I think. If you're interested in playing, and that's a perfect draw, if you're interested in playing in the Hoaglandia Open tomorrow, there are still plenty of spots to set up. I think we've got, I think Jim just added Jim, and he's player number 86. We have room for up to 256 players in that tournament. We have a bunch of other content creators that invited to play. Mythic Meebo, Amazonian, JRR. A bunch of others that I'm sure I'm forgetting. Alias V. Willie Edel, I think, has said he's going to play assuming his children permit, which I completely understand being a father. So hopefully he'll be playing. Yeah, I think I'm in for threat density here. Yeah, I was watching Amazonian stream this morning. Some of her prep. Yeah, Crim's supposed to be playing too. Like I said, whole bunch of excellent people. I think these sound great, huh? I'm just gonna keep these. Do I want to draw God's Willing before Feather? I don't think so. Hey, thanks to Crozan for checking out the raid sponsor and playing the tutorial. Appreciate that. Ready to go off with Slitherwist tomorrow in the tournament. I'm looking forward to it. And for people that are new to this stream and haven't seen the opens before, in addition to everybody who plays in the event getting prizes based on their record, everybody that gets at least 5 match wins will get prizes tomorrow. We also give out like some sweetest deck awards and some random door prizes to folks as well. Try to make it more of a community-run tournament rather than a heavy, like, spike-driven style of event. Coach, thanks for checking out the raid sponsor and playing through the tutorial. Appreciate it. Super punished for not playing Soul-Scar Mage, huh? You see decks like this and decks like the blue-black deck we just played against? This is why people think Field of the Dead is too good for this format. Because they play like these mopey, do-nothing control decks. How do you submit the entry fee? Once you are subscribed and link your Twitch account on Melee, you'll be able to pay the entry fee through Melee. Melee handles all the money, so I don't have to deal with it for tax purposes. For reference, too, for people that are new, I don't take in any of the entry fees. The $6 entry fee, $1 of that goes to Melee for processing the payment and hosting the tournament on their site. And then the other $5 goes to Cool Stuff Inc. for prize support. So, this tournament has prizes that scale based on the number of people that play in it. If we had a bunch of last-minute signups and we hit the full 256 players, I believe the total store credit that pays out is like a little over $1,500. Which is not bad. It's a good draw. Maybe drag us back in here. All right, I'm into it. So they can Yorion and blink the Trial of Ambitions, which can make me sacrifice these, but then maybe Feather can be lethal. Yes, if you are planning to play in the tournament as well, because Magic Arena is Magic Arena and doesn't have an official spectator mode, it is a requirement to play in tomorrow's tournament that you are able to broadcast your matches on Discord. It's super simple if you haven't done it before. It is a little bit intensive on some computers, and it requires a little bit more internet bandwidth. So you'll want to make sure that your computer is capable of doing that. Important that I Defiant Strike here before giving protection from white. Because if I give protection from white, I can no longer Defiant Strike. Howdy, Wolfman. Well, welcome to a live one. I see you've got that Prime icon next to your name. If you're new to Twitch, that Prime gives you a free sub every single month. If you're someone that's interested in playing in the tournament tomorrow, a sub like that is just as good as any other sub for being able to join the event. Yes, yeah, if your internet and computer are capable of streaming to Twitch, you could definitely stream to Discord. Discord's actually less resource intensive than streaming to Twitch is. Alright, so they're another removal heavy deck. They don't seem like they have many things I need to Reckless Rage, so we're going to cut their rages. We're going to bring in God's Willing. We're going to bring in our extra threats that are a little bit resilient to sweepers. And we're going to bring in Disdainful Stroke to try and counter some of their more expensive plays. Yes, protection is symmetrical. It's one of those older mechanics. Oh, that's true. Yorion's also part blue. In my head, they're a black-white deck, and Yorion's a white card in it, but you're right that we could technically pro-blue, so it wouldn't matter. Good call. Need 2 more cuts here. Probably just Op. Op's kind of like my filler card. Usually trim that if I don't know what else to get rid of. And for people from a technical aspect, if streaming your matches Discord sounds technically intimidating, it's not. You literally just launch Discord, and you join a channel, and you hit go live, and you pick your arena application window, and it just starts sharing it. There are people that have wondered how we do coverage of the Open. We basically have both players each round share their screens to Discord, then I capture them both and splice them together using some OBS magic. 2/2 drops. That's true. You do need to install Discord's desktop app. You can't use it using the web browser. What does OBS stand for? Open Broadcast Software. Hey, Johnny Hotbox. Thanks for checking out the raid sponsor, playing through the tutorial. Appreciate it. What time does it start and what's the entry fee? It starts at 9 a.m. Central tomorrow and has a $6 entry fee. I feel like I'm just supposed to play another pet here. Like, I have so many threats in my hand. Ooh, that's good advice. If your computer struggles a little bit, taking Arena off of full screen mode helps. Yes, yeah, you have to be subbed. You have to be subbed to my channel as well because we handle the coverage via the subscriber Discord server. Man, they're gonna cast Cry of the Canarium next turn and make me cry. If they don't have Cry, I like running all of these out though. A more standard resolution is ideal, but not having a more standard resolution is not disqualifying. If your monitor has a weird resolution too and you run it windowed mode, like you could run it 1280 by whatever 720, that card's gonna be tough to beat. Drop me a direct message. I manually am handing out the free subs at the end of each stream. So it is not automatic. Drop me a DM. Probably dead here. We both stumbled to start, but they stumbled through out of it first. I'll put an op back in. Okay, on the play for game 3. Oh, they're gonna Thoughtseize my Legionnaire on 1, and we're gonna curl up in a little ball and cry, but I also don't really want to mulligan against the Thoughtseize deck. Oh, magic. Oh, magic. For those of you taking notes at home, you'll note I very cleverly left my extra threats on top of my deck here. Bricked on a land. You love to see it. Alright, so they could potentially kill this, but Feather will at least get to cantrip here. And if they don't have a removal spell for this immediately, we end up in a pretty decent spot. Yeah, turn 1 Thoughtseize with their 80 card deck. Feels magic, man. Second verse, same as the first. A little bit louder and a whole lot worse. White source. White source. Show me trial number 3. Final payment. That's adorable. New Madrid, thank you for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Oglandia. Thanks for keeping me around. You're having a good one wherever you're at. And Neenan, thanks for checking out the raid sponsor and playing through the tutorial. Oh yeah, they're a black-white Demonic Pact deck, 100%. 100% are a Demonic Pact deck. This deck's been floating around the ladder. That's how a content creator must have played it or something. I think they're dead though. Nice, New. Well, I appreciate you popping over and thanks for the Prime. Yeah, I'm live for at least a little bit, basically every single day here now. I shifted my schedule about 2 months back now. I've really liked having doing a little bit every single day. So this is 7. This is 8, 9. I could theoretically kill them here, right? Am I playing around a removal spell? I feel like I'm not. It's on the YOLO plan. Oh, I needed to target this again, right? Okay, we're still exactly right. We're just not overkilled. All right. I technically missed a point of damage there, but it didn't matter. This one needs. I told you in my head I keep mixing up Dorat and this one. Flesh-Eaten Gnome, thanks for the 21 months. Welcome back. Someone asked about the Shillings deck bump. I don't always verbally acknowledge those, but I have a log/spreadsheet for those that I reference at the end of each day. So like I said, I know the games you lose to the removal heavy decks with Feather always tend to feel a little bit bad, but I think overall they tend to be a pretty okay matchup. I think I liked where this ended up at. I had really low expectations for Soul-Scar Mage going into this set. And I feel like it really exceeded them. The resource efficiency on Soul-Scar Mage was really important. And the fact that it was a human for fight as one was important at many points too. When you have like Soul-Scar Mage and 10th District Legionnaire along with Dorat and Stormwing Entity, fight as one adds 4 power to your attack for a single mana, which is just huge and incredible. So I think even though Dreadhorde Arcanist adds a little bit of card advantage to the deck, I feel like I liked the resource efficiency and better synergy with fight as one that having a cheaper threat and an extra human really added to this. And I'm gonna update the Feather list on my website to reflect this. I think this is almost card for card what's up there. I mostly just swapped Dreadhorde to Soul-Scar, but that was a good change today, and I'm glad that I tried it. All right, at any rate, we're going to be done with this deck, but don't go anywhere because we got a bunch of magic coming up here today, and I'm also going to wrap up on Sabrune Terra today. I'm going to hit a quick ad roll, but when we get back, we are going to play some more mono black control, getting to play with Thoughtseize for the first time. So we'll be back in just a few. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere.